Hey everyone, it is Dr. Pullen here again from Superior Chiropractic and Rehab. Today I have a special guest. He's a really good friend of mine. His name is Dustin. He is the owner of Maryville Fitness. Welcome, Dustin.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely, Dustin. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy Friday because I know it's the weekend and everybody wants to start their weekend plans early. So I just appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to talk to us. So Dustin, I when I started my practice, I was starting to look around a lot of the gyms in the area, and I just wanted to see, what they did and how they could help the community. So, if you don't mind, can you kind of just introduce what you do for the community of Maryville, Glen Carbon, Edwardsville, and what are you guys different that makes you guys a little unique as well?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I own Maryville Fitness. We're located close to Drost Park there in Maryville, and we specialize in working with adults 45 and over, specifically for fitness training. Now, as I said, we don't exclude people because of their age, but that'd be the primary group of people we work with. And with that there, the most popular program I have is a small group personal training, which in my opinion is you get a lot of the benefits of the large group training, which is the fun and the camaraderie and just getting through the workouts together. But you also get the benefits of working in a small group setting where you get a lot of personal attention from a coach, and there's a high attention to detail and form that I think is missing in a lot of large group fitness facilities.
And Dustin, I would agree with you. That is a component of the fitness industry that is lacking and missing it a little bit. And, before I became a chiropractor, I was a personal trainer for a long time too. And I used to always come across other personal trainers and they would do like if you went to one trainer, they would have a completely different program compared to if you went to another one. And the same goes with almost anything really. So, based on your area of expertise, what is something that you would typically have your clients do that almost no other trainer would agree with?
That no other trainer would agree with. I would say I'm really big on that. I think maybe some trainers don't agree with. I like to spend a lot of time building foundations and just doing really basic exercises, which not to say they're not challenging, but do a lot of stuff with body weight and bands initially. And I say that because I've worked with a lot of people that have come to me that haven't worked out at all in 10 or 15 years. And I would make the argument that a lot of trainers I know would start throwing them dumbbells and barbells right off the bat. Whereas I like to take a little bit slower approach to kind of build a foundation, make sure that they're strong enough that they're not going to hurt themselves, and then move them on to more advanced stuff.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And it's just like anything in life. You have to learn to crawl before you can walk, before you run. And
Definitely.
I've noticed that with some other folks too, that they just want you to go from 0 to 100 and not even lay down the groundwork for the foundation. And it seems like that's what you guys really specialize in, which I absolutely love and admire so much. Now, well, let me ask you this question though. You've been a trainer for quite some time and you've worked with a variety of people and personalities. What would you say the biggest takeaway or lesson that you've probably learned throughout your entire career?
I would say probably the biggest takeaway is that every person's individual. So not just with fitness, but with nutrition as well. There's not one size fits all. So you have to spend some time with your clients and listening to them, and you'll find out that you can do one exercise with 10 people and it works great and gets good results. And then you do the same exercise with 10 other people, they don't get anything out of it. And then you have to just operate off feedback. I think a lot of trainers, especially young trainers, they think it's, they get really excited about a certain exercise or excited about a certain exercise program, and they try to make their clients adhere to that versus listening to their clients and doing what's best for them.
And I've made that mistake too when I first came out, when I was a personal trainer, is that I was told everyone should squat, bench, deadlift, nothing else. It doesn't
Yep.
matter,
Mhm.
anything like that. And I couldn't tell you how wrong I was back then. And as a not just a personal trainer with experience like you, but you're also a business owner too. And I know a lot of people have probably come to you just to shadow, be a fly on the wall, get to know you, Maryville Fitness, what you guys have to offer. A lot of students from high school to college looking to go in that career. So, if you've had anyone who's ever come up to you and asked you, what's the one thing or the one piece of advice you would give someone like that who wants to start out and going into personal training or maybe even opening up their own gym?
If someone was brand new, either fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, and they wanted to be a personal trainer, fitness coach, what I would recommend is don't, well, two things. One is don't go online first. I think with a lot of younger people, because it's so different than it was even 10 years ago, that a lot of people want to start off with Instagram or some other format like that, where they're just, oh, I'm just going to be an online coach. I do that myself as far as with online training with people in addition to in person. It's much, much harder, and there's more of a learning curve where I think maybe younger trainers have it backwards. Like they think, oh, online will be easier. It's much harder to do. As far as harder in the sense that it's harder to get your clients the same benefits. So there's more of a learning curve. And then the other thing too is definitely before you open up your own gym, I would definitely be an employee in some capacity at your local gym or whatever gym you can find for, I would say, like a year to 18 months, and just see if you like it. Just like with any other career, if you have the opportunity to maybe do it part-time and just see what it's like versus what you think it's like before you commit to, oh, I'm going to do this for the next 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, I mean that is a ton of advice, because I mean it is a pretty large investment to become a personal trainer first and foremost, just to get the certification, the knowledge, all of that, in addition to having the business mindset, the entrepreneurial drive that we were talking about in our discussions a few days ago. Um, so I mean that always sparks some sort of curiosity within me as a new entrepreneur, and then someone speaking with you who's had some experience with it. A lot of people are always trying to find the best way to increase their productivity. If you don't mind sharing for the audience, what is your favorite productivity hack, if you will, for any new entrepreneurial?
I hear that word hack a lot now. With productivity, that's something, if someone's not an entrepreneur yet or they're thinking about it, you're given all this time, but you have to make the best use of it. And there's definitely a learning curve with that too. I would say for me, the mistake that I made early on the first few years of my business is you try to do too much. As far as I would give myself these impossible task lists to complete that were just, I don't think, looking back, humanly possible to do within a day or do within a week. So what I've done that's helped myself and hopefully help someone else listening to this is that try to only give yourself 2 to 3 things to knock out per day. And even if it's something that just takes 15 or 20 minutes, if that 15 or 20 minutes helps your members, it helps save time in the future, helps you spend more time with your family, whatever it is. If don't give yourself too many things to do in one day or 1 week. It's a recipe to burnout.
What I wish I had that advice a month ago when I was getting my setup all situated, because I felt like I was working like 120 hours a week and I was running around with my head cut off, and I was trying to get X, Y, and Z done, but I had no idea how to even get from A to B. And I tell you, I wish I would have had you at that point in time just to kind of help guide me through that. So I know somebody who's listening to this, they're definitely going to benefit from that. Thanks for dropping that knowledge bomb on us. Well, let me ask you this another question, because when I was a trainer, I used to come across so many myths and different like expectations about a job that just wasn't necessarily the case. I always like to ask this question to other personal trainers or anyone who's an expert in exercise, such as yourself. What would you say, since you've been a personal trainer and business owner at Maryville Fitness, that is the most common myth that people consistently ask you about?
So I mean, the fitness side, I've heard 100 different myths, and the nutrition side, I've heard about 500 different myths. So you could go write a lot of books just on one side alone, but I would say something that's new, that I guess maybe not new to people in the fitness and nutrition industry, but I think is starting to get finally more attention the last couple years, is the importance of sleep and stress management. And I've learned this just from having conversations with people year after year, is that a lot of people, they may be working really hard, but to get healthy, and whether it's to get stronger or to lose weight or to just get healthy in general, there has to be this balance between work hard, recover, where people today more than ever want to go 100 miles an hour in their business life and their personal life, and they never want to slow down. People know they should be getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, but if you ask your friends and family, I would say most of them are probably getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And that it's just go all the time, which I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if your goal is to improve your health, get stronger, lose weight, all those things require stress management and proper sleep. I would say that's a big thing recently that's finally starting to get some attention.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I can't tell you how many clients who have come through our doors and even in other gyms in the area who've said the same things, like, I'm not getting any stronger. And the first thing everybody's asking is, how do you handle stress? How do you handle sleep? And it's really great that you're attacking that right at the get-go to address those two concerns, to make sure that they are properly recovering and how do they handle stress in a positive way. I love that. Dustin, I know I have been playing 21 questions with you, and I know it's the weekend. I know you want to get ready for it, so I won't take up much more of your time. And I just have 3 more quick questions for you. My first one is, I've always heard from a really good mentor of mine that all the most successful people in the world read 60 books or more every year. So that's about a book a week, book and a half or so. So what are the 3 books that you would recommend to anyone to read?
3 books. So I honestly get a lot of my information now from, I'm like podcasts, YouTube. I have so many different things that grab my attention. Early on in my fitness career, I was more bigger into books. So 3 that I think would help pretty much anybody, and 2 of them go way back. They've been around for quite a while. One is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you are going to be a business owner and not an employee in any capacity, I think there's good information in that book. It just understanding that you have to look at money and operating a business from a completely different lens than being an employee. And I think that book for me helped just look at things through a completely different lens. The other thing even goes farther back than that book is Dale Carnegie has a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It blows me away how many business owners I've met that, for lack of a better phrase, don't know how to interact with people, that just are either rude or abrasive, and they may not even know they're coming off that way, but they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, and they may be very intelligent or very good at their craft, but their basic interaction skills may need some fine tuning. So I think that would be a helpful helpful book to look at. And then one that I read, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, that I think would be helpful on the entrepreneur side, and you could argue this probably help anybody, even if you're not an entrepreneur, is there's a book called Profit First. And that book, especially in the age of social media and everything's about, I'm going to put out something sort of a lifestyle online that may not match what's happening in reality, is that I think a lot of business owners need to think about, obviously I need to help my members. I need to help the community. All that's extremely important, but you need to be able to make a business that's profitable, not just a business that makes revenue, because that's what's going to keep you in business for the long haul. And that's going to help you be better at helping people in the long term. And that's where I think with social media age, there's just a lot of people that maybe give the projection of having a healthy and successful business through, I said, just flaunting it online, but behind closed doors, they're not running things maybe as well as they could.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you're not making money to one, take home and feed the kids, how are you going to keep the lights on? So
Definitely. Yeah.
You have to have that profit first mentality, and I love it. Well, I love those 3 books, and you're not the first person to tell me to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Profit First. So I am going to have to order that off Amazon today. What would you say your top 3 podcasts you'd also recommend?
For podcasts, I said I jump around with those so much. I mean, there's not like one podcast I've stuck with for years, but with podcasts, so I had kind of like a sort of some on like the fitness side, plus maybe the business side. So kind of back to personal finance again, I would say in the same kind of topic as Profit First is Dave Ramsey has a podcast. Now I know Dave Ramsey has his own personal beliefs, like religious, but not talking about that side of it, more so just how he handles money in a way that I think would be helpful to most people. I think it's a good person to follow, and some of it is just kind of entertaining too. When you hear about how some people spend their money and some don't, I think it's kind of entertaining. So the Dave Ramsey podcast, I think a lot of people are familiar with that name. 2 on the fitness side, ones that if for anyone that's young trainer, young fitness coach, I would follow Mike Robertson. He has his own podcast. He's a guy that has a master's degree, and he also, more importantly, he has a lot of real world experience. And he's a guy that started off in the trenches as a one-on-one personal trainer, and now he trains professional athletes, and he speaks all over the world. I met him in person. He's an extremely intelligent guy. And I said, if you're a fitness coach, one of the first guys I'd start following. And another guy that's maybe not as well known as Mike, that kind of going back to what I talked about earlier with sleep and stress management, there's a guy named Joel Jameson, who interesting background. He was trained professional athletes himself, and he started off, or I guess has trained a lot of MMA fighters, and that's not something I know anything about really, but he's focused on making them better athletes by making them healthier and making them more resilient to stress, and shifting away from the mindset of I'm just going to make these athletes tired and sweaty and beat them up, versus I'm going to make these athletes stronger, healthier, better. And I would say that's a good person to follow as well, Joel Jameson.
I've heard of Joel Jameson. He does put out some really good content. So I really appreciate that we both kind of share that same line that we both can admire and look up to. Okay, well, thanks so much, Dustin, for taking time out of your busy day and just kind of mentioning what Maryville Fitness does for the community. If anyone has any questions or concerns and they want to reach out to you and ask you something, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yes, the best way to get a hold of me would be just reach out through my website. It's just maryvillefitness.com. And said, for anyone that's interested in the small group personal training program, we do a 2-week free trial so people can try it out and there's no pressure. And Said we do have other services as well besides the small group personal training. We do one-on-one personal training. We have medical grade infrared sauna. We have nutrition coaching. So we have other services too besides the group training that may be of interest as well. And that's all on the website.
Perfect. All right, everyone, if you heard that, I want you to go check out Dustin at Maryville Fitness here in Maryville, Illinois. Great guy, really knows his stuff. He can definitely help you out. All right, everyone, this is Dr. Pullman from Superior Chiropractic and Rehab Radio. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.